Good afternoon, and welcome back to Day 2 of our annual award ceremony. Our first award, the Certificate of Merit Award, is presented to those individual, sworn or unsworn members who, during the performance of their duties in a particular incident or event, display the use of exceptionally sound judgment, resourcefulness, and adherence to the standard operating procedures of the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office. I would like to ask Chief Ciccarelli to the podium, please.
It gives great pleasure to present 6 of you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit for your actions taken on March 7th, 2021. With the following members, please step up. Deputy Joseph Bill, Deputy Robin Cox, Deputy Timothy Hahn, Deputy Edward Heck, Deputy Matthew Tynan, and Deputy Michael Poindexter. On the morning of March 7th, 2021, you all responded to the residential structure fire in the town of Clay. Upon arriving, the homeowners advised that their teenage son was still inside the house. Entry was quickly made into the house to search for the son while also calling out for him. Due to the heavy smoke and fire, rescue efforts were obstructed and evacuation was necessary. Additional efforts were made to locate the son by utilizing a ladder to climb to the second-floor bedroom window. After descending from the second floor, footprints were discovered in the snow leading away from the home. A search of the neighborhood was conducted, and the male was located several blocks away. Where he confessed to setting the fire, the male was taken into custody and charged with arson in the second degree. We commend and applaud all of you for your outstanding actions. It is the pleasure to present 6 of you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office of Certificate of Merit.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We're done. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would Detective Andrew Ecker please come forward? It gives great pleasure to present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Officer Certificate of Merit for your actions during an investigation of a shooting with injuries that occurred on July 21st, 2019. On that evening, members of the Criminal Investigation Division responded to the scene of a shooting with injuries, which occurred as a result of a drug deal. You would ultimately assume case responsibility and spend countless hours following up on numerous leads. During the course of the investigation, a labor-intensive video canvass of the area was conducted, and after several hours of viewing surveillance footage, the vehicle utilized in the crime was identified. To complicate matters, the vehicle was determined to be a rental vehicle. After tracking down the customer and conducting additional interviews, you were able to identify one of the suspects. After an extensive search, the suspect was located and brought in for questioning. During the questioning, further suspect information was developed, which led to the apprehension of 2 additional men. A review of the video evidence confirmed the identity of all the suspects involved. After a 6-month-long investigation, the 3 suspects were eventually arrested, convicted, and sentenced to state prison. We wish to commend you, your exceptional sound judgment, resourcefulness, and investigative techniques. It is a pleasure to present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit. Our next recipient is Detective James Redshaw, who unfortunately could not join us today. However, we would still like to make an acknowledgement for him and his actions during the investigation of a fatal motor vehicle collision that occurred on October 12, 2019. On that evening, while assigned to the Criminal Investigation Division, Deputy Redshaw responded to the scene of a fatal motor vehicle collision whereby the vehicle fled from the scene after striking a pedestrian. Upon his arrival, he interviewed a witness who was able to provide him with a description of the vehicle that fled from the scene. Through his investigation, he learned that another law enforcement member had conducted a traffic stop near the scene that evening prior to the collision, and that his patrol vehicle was equipped with a license plate reader. Based on the information received from the witness and the plate reader, Detective Redshaw was able to identify the vehicle and develop a suspect. After extensive video review, Detective Redshaw tracked the vehicle to a warehouse in the city of Syracuse, where the video showed the occupant abandoning the vehicle. A search warrant was obtained, and a search of the suspect's residence produced evidence associated with the hit and run. The suspect was arrested, convicted, and recently sentenced to state prison for his crime. We wish to commend Detective Redshaw for his exceptional sound judgment, resourcefulness, and investigative techniques. It is a pleasure to present him with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit. Our next recipient is Deputy Daniel Pacheco, who also unfortunately could not attend. It gives great pleasure to present her with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office of Certificate of Merit for her actions taken on May 17, 2020. On that afternoon, Deputy Pacheco responded to a residence in the town of Cicero to assist NAVAC on a medical call. Upon her arrival, she was advised by EMS personnel on the scene that the house was not livable conditions, and due to the numerous pets on the scene, the individual was refusing to be transported to the hospital as there would not be anyone to care for the animals. She offered to contact the local SPCA to take possession of the pets until the individual could return home. As she continued speaking with the male, who was becoming agitated, he began to reach into the recliner he was sitting in. Based on her training and awareness to safety of the scene, she began to physically prevent the subject from reaching into the recliner. As she searched the area of the recliner, Deputy Pacheco recovered a loaded, holstered handgun in the seat of the recliner. She verbalized this discovery to responders on the scene, who then assisted her with restraining the subject until she could render it safe. The subject was later transported to an area hospital for evaluation. We wish to commend and applaud Deputy Pacheco for her instinctive actions, which undoubtedly saved the life of herself and the other first responders on the scene. I am proud to present her with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office of Certificate of Merit. With the next recipient, Deputy Christian Mullen, please come forward. Deputy Mullen, it gives great pleasure to present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit for your actions taken on July 23rd, 2020. On that morning, you responded to Hiawatha Boulevard Bridge over I-81 to assist the Syracuse Police Department on a suspicious person type call. As the first unit to arrive on the scene, you observed a Good Samaritan hanging onto the male who was straddling a chain link fence top of the bridge in an apparent attempt to fall into the traffic below. The male was emotionally distressed and needed help. As you approached the male, he began to release his grip from the fence, at which time you quickly latched onto him, preventing him from falling below. You struggled with the male for several minutes before additional responders could arrive to assist you with bringing the male to safety. The male was uninjured but taken to an area hospital for treatment. We wish to commend and applaud you for your instinctive actions, which undoubtedly saved the life of this man. It is a pleasure to present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit. With the next two members, please come forward. Deputy Adam Quigley and Deputy Zachary Anderson.
That's right.
It gives great pleasure to present the two of you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit for your actions taken on November 16, 2020. On that evening, two of you responded to an address in the town of Onondaga for a suicidal person. Information was received through the 911 center that the subject was armed with a knife, causing harm to himself. Further information was received that the subject had threatened to use the knife against responding officers. While responding to the address, you recognized this individual as someone you had encountered in the past and had developed a rapport with. While on the scene, the two of you utilized a shield from the patrol vehicle and placed yourselves in a position safely to make contact with the subject. While doing so, you could hear the subject causing damage to the upstairs bedroom. As you made contact with the individual, you were able to communicate effectively and convince him to drop the knife. The male obeyed your commands and exited the room with no visible weapons. You were then able to take him into custody safely. Upon search of the bedroom, a large butcher knife was discovered. The subject was uninjured but taken to an area hospital for treatment. We wish to commend and applaud you, both of you, for your instinctive actions, which undoubtedly saved the life of this individual. I am proud to present you, the two of you, with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Would the following members please come forward? Deputy Laura Collins, Deputy Willem Adamo, Trooper Moretti, Trooper Henry from the New York State Police. It gives great pleasure to present all of you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit for your actions taken on March 11th, 2021. On that morning, the four of you responded to a reported residential structure fire in the town of Van Buren. Deputy Collins arrived within minutes of being dispatched and discovered heavy smoke and flames coming from the rear of the home. Not knowing if the residence was occupied, she began pounding on the doors and windows while yelling in an attempt to alert anyone inside. A woman eventually came to the front door and was escorted safely out of the burning home. The woman informed Deputy Collins that her son was still inside the home. Deputy Collins entered the home in an attempt to search for the male, but was forced to evacuate due to heavy smoke. After yelling multiple times, the male came to a secondary story bedroom window and advised that he was trapped in the room. By the assistance from the New York State Police, John Moretti and Dave Henry, along with Deputy William Adamo, the four of you quickly worked together to stack neighbors' garbage bins directly underneath the male's window and escorted him safely away from the burning building. We commend and applaud the four of you for your outstanding actions. It is a pleasure to present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We would like next to call Deputy Joshua Hill. Please come forward. Deputy Hill, it gives great pleasure to present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit for your actions taken on April 12, 2021. On that evening, you responded to a residence in the town of Clay for a person in crisis with suicidal ideations. Prior to your arrival, information was received from 911 dispatcher that the individual had ingested approximately 10 pills and was last seen running toward a nearby garage with a noose placed around their neck. You arrived on the scene within a few minutes and discovered the individual in the garage had a ladder with a noose tied to a hook attached to the ceiling. A family member was holding the individual's legs in an attempt to prevent them from stepping off the ladder. You immediately took a hold of the individual, lifting them up while attempting to remove the noose from around their neck. The individual resisted your efforts, causing additional pressure around their neck, which you resorted to removing the noose from the hook. Once the individual was brought to the ground, you removed the noose from their neck and escorted them to the medical personnel, who would later transport the individual to the hospital to receive necessary treatment. We wish to commend and applaud you for your instinctive actions, which undoubtedly prevented the loss of life. We present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit. Would Captain Michael Pellizzari please come forward? Captain, it gives great pleasure to present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit for your leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic. Starting in March 2020, as the COVID-19 pandemic started to paralyze the world, you started to develop the OCSO response to this unknown virus. During these challenging times and throughout this period, you worked to develop the response to many of the questions and answers were not ready available. You worked to acquire necessary PPE, as well as COVID-19 tests in a time they were scant in supply. The securement of those same items set up by yourself also kept all the necessary supplies safe for those needed for them the most. You initiated the setup, staffing, and supervision of the Sheriff's Office EOC for the longest duration in Onondaga County history. During this time, you also implemented various policies and procedures, working with the Office of Administration to mitigate staff exposure and the spread of the disease. You focused on the one step ahead approach to health and safety of the citizens of Onondaga County, which was very apparent. You also concurrently developed the OCSO Civil Event Protest Special Order, which now serves as an operational plan for law enforcement activities. This incident action plan is a multifaceted and includes the majority of the units, members, and buildings of the Sheriff's Office. Additionally, you were tasked with developing the All Hazards Policy, which is now part of OCSO written directive system that provides the framework of the manage unusual circumstances and agency readiness. From May 2020 until the present, these plans have been instrumental in the management of events that unfolded during the time of unrest. Your leadership and personal drive have resulted in great effectiveness of the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office, as well as a safer, better trained cadre of professional public safety members. We wish to commend and applaud you for your exceptional actions. It is a pleasure to present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit. Your turn.
Good job, Mike.
Thank you.
Well done.
I would now ask Chief Bliley, please step forward for the next awards.
Thank you. We'd like to invite the next group of individuals to please come forward. Sergeant Jeffrey Cheltnicki, Senior Officer John Albering, Senior Officer William Dorito, Senior Officer Sam Garofalo, Correction Officer William Hannon, and Correction Officer Patrick Quinn. Correction Officer Sean Luthauser is also going to be receiving an award, but he's unable to attend today. Gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present the 7 of you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Certificate of Merit for your actions throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and events during the month of May and June of 2020. As a member of the Correction Officer Department maintenance staff, you're tasked with the daily upkeep and repairs of the Correction Department facility. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the maintenance department has proven to be invaluable. They have been instrumental in providing protection to both staff and inmates by installing plexiglass barrier in each housing unit at the officer stations, the front desk, as well as preparing to reopen the visitation room. The maintenance department also assisted the civil department by installing plexiglass partitions around all their workstations to help keep their employees safe. During May and June of 2020, the county was impacted by protests that turned violent and caused damage to many county buildings. The Correction Department maintenance staff was asked to fortify the glass windows around Sheriff's headquarters to prevent further damages or illegal entries into the building. Without hesitation, the maintenance officers were willing to assist by installing coverings over the windows and doors in one day, and I may mention less than 8 hours. A few days later, the maintenance officers installed floodlights on the roof of headquarters to add security to the building. We wish to commend and applaud all of you for your efforts to help keep the Sheriff's Office safe and keeping safety in the forefront at all times. It's a pleasure to present you with the Onondaga County Sheriff's Office Certificate of Merit.
You not have done this without the gentleman. Circulate. Thank you so very much, all of you. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, you guys.